Good evening. We have closed out of our executive session. We have moved to go into our open session. It is 5:30. We'll be moving into our first appointment with Power Options regarding membership benefit review. The town became a member of this group as a condition of the contract with a wastewater treatment plant solar installer, and as there is an annual cost to the town, we want to make sure we're taking advantage of all the services they provide. Two members from Power Options, Zach and Walter, will give us an overview of the programs available, including EV charging stations. We also have the original agreement here with us. So welcome, Zach, and we have Walter, who's joining us via Zoom.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, that's exactly it. We're here to give you a lowdown on Power Options and all the benefits we provide. And Walter has been with the organization almost 10 years, and he's the program manager for our solar program and our EV charging program. And my role is to introduce folks to Power Options and help existing members and prospective members get the most out of membership. Sometimes members don't need all of our programs, or they could benefit from them all. And so it's really my job to understand each organization and try to help them get the most out of what we can provide. So Power Options was established in '98. So we were set up as a state agency to provide energy services to other municipalities and state agencies, pooling their money and resources to purchase energy in bulk. And by doing that, it was a competitive advantage for those types of organizations. And as we grew, the landscape really changed. So we've had more opportunity to provide these services to other nonprofits. So after being a state agency for a few years, we became our own nonprofit, helping nonprofits and municipalities pool their resources and save money on energy. And so we focused since '98 on electricity and natural gas, and a lot of that is for municipal accounts generally. So just so it doesn't get confused, we don't participate in community choice aggregation. So this is not for residences, it's for municipal buildings. And we work with 141 municipalities and 70 plus housing authorities and 500 members total. And so it's a mission-driven organization. I'm here not to sell anything and make commission, but it's really to help folks understand, hey, the power of membership. This is what you can get from being a member. And a lot of it is procured energy services. So whether it's electricity or natural gas or solar, they're flexible conditions. There's not all one price for everybody, but there's the same pricing methodology for everybody. So everyone's treated on an even level and judged by your own merits primarily, or initially, and then given the additional recs or terms and conditions as our contracts allow. So it's been a process. We've gone through different stages of Power Options, but really it's been over the last 12 years or so where we've been able to provide electricity, natural gas, and solar services to organizations. Over 140 solar projects. As I said, 500 members. We go out to bid every few years for our different services to keep them fresh, pricing and terms and conditions, so that folks are getting the most out of what they hoped. And so we continue to improve those terms and conditions. We continue to improve the amount of recs that are reducing folks' rates. And so all of these things have taken time, but we've grown, and our membership has grown. So we have a retention rate of about 96%, meaning most folks stay with us, And whether they're using one service or many, they certainly value the information we provide to help them make their choices. And that's really important. It's really important to me to be able to reach out to folks who come to select board meetings and city hall meetings and speak with mayors and financial folks about the value in what we provide. We're not getting paid from each sale. We're here to educate folks to say, all right, this is a good opportunity because, this is a good time to buy because, but ultimately it's up to you folks to really make that choice, whether it's electricity, natural gas, or as you've already moved forward with solar, you understand. You have a lot of responsibility on your plate, and I recognize that you're making decisions for the town, not just yourselves. Often we're working with boards of a university, and still those folks are making decisions for other folks. So you really understand the value in what we're doing and the service we provide to members. So just to give an outline of roughly who we're taking care of, most of our members are municipalities. But as you can see, we're helping a lot of different types of organizations and nonprofits, municipal entities alike. And then the benefits of Power Options, just succinctly, we have individual members helping you with individual needs. So you get experts in each area that we provide. And so we have program managers that do different things. Our energy information suite allows folks to track their data and information, to look for outliers, or to set sustainability goals or energy goals. And so we work alongside folks to do that. Just being a part of membership, you get market insight and the RAPS report about policies and regulatory updates. And then peak alerts, the summertime, it's nice to reduce your demand charge, and if you can do that in the hottest day in the summer, we'll be notifying you. Hey, this is the peak day. If you can shut down usage between 5 and 7, that's going to help you with the utility company and lower your demand numbers. And then advocacy, just going out and working with ISO New England, the DPU, to work on our members' behalf. All nonprofits and municipalities, but really those are our members, and that's who we're looking out for. And then networking and educational seminars. We put on webinars regularly to learn about new policy, to learn about the tax code, things people and members ask for. We set up webinars on a regular basis. So membership dues, you folks are all set. So there's no dues that you're going to have to pay beyond what you expected. You signed up for the one-time solar payment, and so that covers you for the solar project and the solar work that is going on. And it covers you for all of my services and our services for the year. If you decide to use one of our natural gas or electricity purchasing programs, then it's an ongoing fee, and it's based on your annual electricity and natural gas spend. And it's as simple as that. Most folks spend between $500 and $1,000 on membership fees, but we work with the Chamber of Commerce in Northampton and Look Park and some small organizations that pay $129 a year. So everyone's different. And so our 4 main areas are the commodity purchasing, the electricity and natural gas, and then we have storage and renewables, clean transportation, and the energy sustainability and analytics. And so these different programs have come along. The transportation and ESA are relatively new programs, but these programs have been brought about by our members. Hey, we need something like this. We need something better than Mass Energy Insight, or we need some sort of solution to our problems. And so that's why these programs have been created. Not just out of thin air, hoping we're going to make some money on it. Again, we're a nonprofit. We're here to provide services to our members. And the ESA has been great, and we can get into that a little later. The RFP process, it really is what makes us. So we're procurement specialists. This is what we do. We go out to bid on a programmatic basis for 500 members, of over 1 billion kilowatt hours a year of use, and 7 million decatherms of natural gas. And so when we're negotiating for our group. So not only do we know the ins and outs of what electricity and natural gas contracts look like, but we know what the good benefits can be. And so we really do have the best terms and conditions you could possibly get, better than any large organization, because we're even larger. We include most of the universities in Worcester. The Boston Housing Authority is one of our largest clients with 15,000 accounts. So we really do work with large organizations. But the way things work, it is easy for us to organize on our side, so that we can let you know 9 to 12 months in advance when your electricity supply contract is going to expire. And really now is a good time to start looking at those rates, and I'll call you up and we have this conversation and continue it on again. But it's the procurement on a number of levels where we're going out every few years to make sure that terms and conditions are satisfied. And really, it's rate, right? Folks don't want to spend too much on electricity, and so that is our primary concern. But in the group negotiation, we're able to get competitive rates and these terms and conditions that really protect and benefit our members. So I mentioned before a little value beyond procurement, just being a part of ISO New England, DPU, and conversations. We're experts in this. We've done this a long time. So they come to us and they ask us what our members are saying. And so we have some insight into legislation and how things move in the state. The solar and storage, I think you folks know quite a bit about this already. And we're experienced. We've done a lot of this. This is Walter's field, but I think unless there are any specific questions about solar, we can just kind of keep going with this one. But I will pause here in case there's anything that you folks want to ask about solar or your current project going on, or Walter, if you'd like to add anything here, please feel free.
Nothing from my end unless there are any specific questions. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you, and I'm sorry you couldn't be out there in person tonight. Heard we were supposed to get some snow. Didn't quite materialize out here in eastern Mass. But yeah, on the solar and storage front, our job, like with all of the other programs, is to go out to bid, structure the programs, and hopefully make it into an easy transaction for you, so that you're getting a competitive price with qualified supplier, and we've done the legwork of making sure it's set up so that you're getting a good deal without having to go do procurement on your own, spend a lot of time or money. And I think that worked out perfectly at the wastewater treatment plant project.
Yeah, really leading into the clean transportation, I mean, this is still something where you could continue if you'd like, Walter?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, we have a lot of, so like Zach mentioned, the way we approach building out products and services is things that our members would be buying anyway or want to do anyway, that we can hopefully help make more efficient. So a lot of clean transportation goals in the Commonwealth, a lot of sustainability plans and ambitions among our members, a lot of them having to do with transportation. So on the electric vehicle front, we offer a couple different services. So we do the fleet analyses for our members for all your fleet vehicles. If you're looking, but can you back up just one? Sorry, Zach.
Sure. Yep.
Thanks. So road mapping out, if you have for all your town vehicles, if you're interested in looking at what it would look like to switch to electric vehicles, what we do is a fleet analysis tool, which I believe is free to public entities in Eversource territory, which you are. And that would involve taking stock of all your current fleet vehicles and looking at how long they'll last, and when they're due for replacement, and then what that would cost and save over the long term if you were to switch to EVs. And that includes recommending specific models. On the charging front, you can go to the next slide. So we went out to bid for charging stations, which includes the actual hardware of the charging stations, along with installation services. So through our program, you can get chargers, get the installation services that come from our competitive bid with our big volume consortium behind the bid process, and you get us as a integrator, as we call it. So we'd help you figure out what you need, where, help you apply for all the incentives. The incentive programs are unfortunately just very complicated, but that's what we do. We've done a few of them under our program, so we can help with that. Coming soon on the bottom, this is pretty exciting, is a new program called Fleet Electrification as a Service, which means instead of just buying the chargers and paying for the install, you own them, to engage in a long-term contract with a provider who would come assess your needs. It's mostly for fleet vehicle application, but they would come assess your needs and what you need, and do all the planning, installation, provide the chargers, maintain ownership of the chargers, but also be responsible for all the maintenance and guaranteeing that they're available at a certain degree. I think it's over 95% of the time, and that would be for a monthly or annual fee.
Great, thanks, Walt. We can get back to that, and I know that a big concern or interest of yours is the EV charging. So I'll cruise through the rest of these slides, and then we can start to ask some questions and go from there. The energy sustainability and analytics really is just that, analyzing your data, helping you understand where you're starting and where you can go. So whether it's setting sustainability goals or just energy spending goals, we help with that. And then the next step to that is sustainability and decarbonization. So we have building decarbonization roadmaps that we help folks design so they know where and how to decarbonize over time. If you just put in a new gas boiler 2 years ago, we're not going to encourage you to go out and switch that to a heat pump right away. But what's the reasonable lifetime of that and your other facilities in town? And so we can go through that and help you with it. Currently, I believe those roadmaps are close to $2,500 per roadmap, but they're being subsidized by the CEC, so they're around $1,000 per building. And you can pick as many buildings, you don't have to do all the buildings, but just to understand what your options are there. The fleet electrification is the same thing. There is, Walter mentioned, especially in Eversource, there's a free program to be able to do that, and we can help with that. And then the Energy 360 is tailored to individual towns and organizations. So a lot of times this involves, anaerobic digesters or ground source heat pumps or unique situations where the town wants to do something specific and needs some energy advice. This is where we can step in. And your $500 fee covers things like this. So take advantage of it. If you need some advice or help in moving in one direction or another, we can certainly start you there and see where it goes. The analytics, really, I love this format and this program. It is our own software, but it's just plugging in your data and your electric bills and getting the data you need back to analyze, to see outliers, any adjustments that need to be made. You can use these dashboards to really help you on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis. It's just data reporting. What do you need for information from your wastewater treatment plant or from the town hall or wherever you're using a lot of energy you're looking to save. And so you can find resources through these reports and the analytics. Carbon reporting as well. This is more for cities and towns that are required, so I can skip through this. Just Boston and Cambridge are requiring large organizations to do that, and so we help with those cities do that and those organizations. The decarbonization roadmap, it is virtual. It's not a lot of on-site that is necessary. We can do a lot of it virtually and take care of that for you and give you our recommendations. It does take a few months to set everything up and get everything in line for your timeline expectations. But if that's something you'd like to do, we can certainly talk about it. The fleet electrification is case by case, so would love to help you in this, especially in Eversource territory. If we can help you with your fleet, we'd be glad to and go through that process with you if it's time. Energy 360 we've gone over, just individual needs specific to the town. So this is where I really focus and help folks understand the value from electricity and natural gas. It's the fact that we're able to leverage the 500 members and their use. And so one small organization is not pulled down or up, and large organizations are not pulled down or up by a small organization. You're first judged by your individual energy profile and then afforded the extra credits and terms and conditions that we provide all our members. And so looking for a fixed rate for electricity or natural gas over a period of time really does save. It is better than the utility company over time, but more than anything, especially for a town, but even a small nonprofit, it's that price certainty. And without locking in, always having a competitive rate whenever you need it. A lot of folks are looking at pricing now for late summer, fall, and next winter. And I can get into that in a little bit, why. This can get boring, but I'll just be quick about this. What's in your electricity price are all types of different charges. The capacity is a big portion. The renewable portfolio standards, that's changed over time. And then your use, your actual energy use is in the blue. And so most of the electricity you use, most of the cost of your electricity is the electricity you use. And so that has gone up over the last few years as a percentage of cost, closer to the 50%, 57%. And so this is affecting your overall cost in electricity a little bit more. Some of the benefits that we provide as the extra terms and conditions are things like pass-throughs. So there could be a charge from the utility company that the supplier isn't sure about, and so they have pass-throughs. They give you maybe a 10-cent rate, and you may get pass-throughs from the utility company that makes it more like a 15-cent rate. And so there's uncertainties when there are pass-throughs that are a little scary to any organization expecting to have price certainty. And so we limit that. The only real pass-through that could potentially come up is a change in law, where a change in law is brought down from the state, the utility company petitions to the state to increase rates for everyone across the board, and so then that's handed down. Even in that case, our supplier needs to come to us and explain to us why that pass-through must be passed on to our members. And that helped in 2021 when there was a large pass-through, and we were able to cut that in half for our members. So the supplier didn't pass that on. What drives the New England market? It's natural gas. So for electricity, it really is driven by the natural gas market. More than 60% of the energy for electricity comes from natural gas. So natural gas rates go up, electricity rates go up. In the wintertime, there's more natural gas for heating, and so there's more demand for natural gas, and so maybe you're using less electricity in the wintertime, but the rates are higher. And so, again, being able to fix that rate is great, but even better is to time that that agreement or locking in that rate to maximize your savings over time. Just a little history, the last year, this is kind of what the market has looked like. Gas prices, but really affecting both markets. And there was a little spike right before the winter in November, and then we've seen a pretty mild winter. And so we've been lucky, and just like last year was mild, rates dropped a lot in February and the beginning of March, and then again in April. And then they climb slowly the rest of the year. And we've seen that trend over time where locking in rates in December, January, and February are typically very good and helpful for buying energy for the future. And then this spreads it out a little longer, going back about 7 years. And we certainly had a dip in the pandemic, and then it increased. And you can see the different reasons, geopolitical and otherwise, that affected the rates. And what is nice to see is the rates coming down a little bit over time. So even just in the last year to have lower rates to look at than a year ago is comforting. Natural gas, just by itself, it has two components in the supply, and one is the actual gas that you buy off the market, so that's the NYMEX, and then the pipeline is your basis. And that,
Yeah, we don't have natural gas, so
All right.
you might want to just skip all
Yeah.
those slides.
Thank you. Yep, no problem. Yeah, just then natural gas affects electricity, and so that's really where it affects it. And so over the next few years, we see some reasonable certainty until about 2027, and there'll be some new pipelines and some new costs associated with building those pipelines. But rates are decent right now, particularly for next fall and beyond. Again, wholesale prices, they've come down, and they've dropped slightly over the last few weeks, gradually, and really because of the mild winter we're having, it's been helpful. Different procurement strategies, most folks do just set it and forget it. They get a fixed rate, and that's it, and that goes for the term that they set. And that's what most folks want, large, medium, and small. But there are different strategies to purchasing half of your load ahead of time and then waiting to see what happens in the market for the summer. Typically the summer is hot and rates spike up again for July, August, and September, and you might be able to squeak in a lower rate in October. But that hasn't happened over the last few years, so we're feeling a little more comfortable helping folks lock in their rates in the early spring. And the weather outlook, it seems to be still pretty mild, even today. We work with a lot of professionals, so we are a consortium for our towns and nonprofits, but we're a consortium of information. We collect information, we work with attorneys and folks in the field to give our members the best we can provide. And that's with our contracts, with our terms and conditions, with the opportunities that we bring to the table. And our team. We're a women-run nonprofit. That means that more than half the board is women, and our CEO and president and our VP are women as well. But we are striving to reach out to the whole state. Power Options is based in Boston. I'm based in East Hampton. I've worked with Shelburne, I've worked with Greenfield and Northampton and Williamsburg and West Hampton and all the way out to Pittsfield. So I'm bringing Power Options this way for folks to benefit. And this is an important mission for me. I really like the work I do, reaching out to folks, educating them, helping in any way to go green or just to save money on electricity and natural gas. So I will, I just have one question before we switch to EV charging, because I know that's an important topic today, in that your electricity for the town, your electricity supply. Do you know when that agreement expires?
It expired 2 months ago. We entered into a new contract with our same provider, which is a cooperative bid.
Oh, great.
So happy to sort of discuss those options maybe with you offline when, how your service compares to the program that we've been in for the last decade or more. But really would love to, in addition to EV, because we do have a infrastructure project that we would love to incorporate some EV chargers into our freight yard parking area project. And I don't think we want to go into too many nuts and bolts tonight, but just sort of what that program looks like. And then also the decarbonization roadmap. That's something that I would really like. I didn't realize that was a service that you offered. Just for real quick, the Green Communities Grant Program is shifting its priorities. In order for us to be able to continue to participate and follow that, we need to have that decarbonization roadmap in place. And I'm sure you're well aware of that.
Yes.
And we have been actually looking for somebody to work with on that. And if we're already a member of this, certainly that's a nice transition for me to explore with our, not only our energy committee, but our MVP program. So I will for sure be following you up and introducing you to some of our green communities people. So that'd be fantastic. Specifically to address the giant monster in the attic that we call, and there's a air handler that needs to go.
People have gone up there and looked at it and been sucked into it.
Oh, yeah, it's, yeah. So anyways, definitely projects there, but anyways, back to EV chargers.
Sure.
Now, you're talking about your EV chargers were for municipal use, not for private use. We're doing the freight yard over again. We're going to put some stations that people could use, people will visit. That's part of the deal too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm
Please,
trying to
Walt,
understand
if you could elaborate on that, just in public and private use for the EV charging.
Yep, sure, happy to. So we can do both under our program. Our scope with respect to our program is chargers and installation services. So whatever you want to use the chargers for is your prerogative.
Okay.
The important aspect with that is just how we plan projects to help you maximize incentives. So the way most of the rebates work are that you pay for the project and then you get money back. In certain cases, you can have the utility Eversource actually pay for a chunk of the infrastructure. So what we're trying to optimize around is get your functionality that you want at the lowest net out-of-pocket cost after all the rebates. So that's something that would help you with. The freight yard project I want to hear a little bit more about. I don't know if this is the right forum for that, or if I should connect with someone offline. I'd want to look at a map and any kind of drawings you have and talk about the requirements for the different incentive programs and see what works best. The two use cases for the incentives are publicly accessible charging that offers the most money back. They're publicly accessible. The kind of requirements, the big ticket requirements to that are that they would have to be accessible and usable by the public 24/7, 365, unless there's some kind of site restriction, in which case you can limit it to 12 hours a day. You also have to work in, and this is a good time to be thinking about this now in the project planning, because you do have to incorporate at least one ADA accessible parking spot that's served by the EV chargers. and you have to, any spots served by the EV chargers that you get incentive money for have to be EV only. So, sometimes that's doable, sometimes that's not, and, you know, my role in this a lot of the time is to just talk through that with you and figure out what we can do and how we, well, it looks like the camera just went off. I don't know if you can still see me.
No,
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, yeah, and just, it can be an iterative process too, of just looking at the options and kind of revising based on how your plans evolve for the site.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I think that's something that probably Heather would want to reach out to you at some point. We're still in kind of the early stages with that project too. It
Perfect.
is moving forward, and it's something that we did actually put into the bid spec, so to where there's going to be designated spaces for EV stations, so.
Great.
I just
Yeah,
forwarded you, I'm sorry, I just forwarded you the design that went out to bid. So, you know, you don't have to look at it now, but just before I forgot.
Great. Yes, no time like the present.
Do you have any EV chargers in place now in town?
No, we don't have any EV vehicles. And we're talking about the fleet of Buckland cars, when we buy our first one, we'll let you know.
I mean, pretty much all of our vehicles
Yeah.
right now are all highway vehicles.
Highway vehicles, the highway department.
DPW vehicles, so those still got a long ways to go, I think, before
Yeah.
Yeah.
those are
Plowing
gonna be a
with
big
EV
sale.
vehicles,
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, there's only a couple, I think, behind the supermarket, if you go across the Allen Bridge, and there's a supermarket there behind that, I think there's 2 charging stations for the whole, and they're used, you know. I'm not sure who put them in, if the town of Shelburne did, or if the owner of the supermarket did, but, so, yeah, that's it.
But no, I'd be excited to work with you on what other opportunities that we can do besides the solar. So, Walter, thank you. You've been great guiding us through that process, and I know that once construction is underway,
Yeah.
we'll get more involved. This planning process has been a bit of a drag.
Yeah, as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a very time-consuming project that I don't think any of us really understood what we were getting into, but,
For the solar project, Heather?
yes, yeah.
What's the pain point with respect, is it, is Select doing a good job with?
No, everybody's doing what they need to be doing, it's just, I think that we didn't anticipate there were so many details between getting the opportunity and the funding and the grant award to actually going online. It's been a learning curve, it's just been a learning curve for us, that's all.
Sure, yeah, I understand. Please keep in mind, we're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the extent I can, I'm always happy to.
No, it's a good project. And it's opened doors for other opportunities, so I appreciate, the board sharing this time, and
You guys have any other questions?
No.
No,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, making the venture up. I'm glad it wasn't snowing,
Yeah.
so you'll have a,
we left it down south, and let them
That's
enjoy
right.
it for a while.
Yeah, right?
so, all
Thanks for
right.
having us. It was nice virtually meeting everybody. I hope to make it out maybe for the ribbon cutting at the wastewater treatment plant project, and I'm always here if I can help with anything.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you very much, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Bye, Walter.
All right. We are a little after 6. Our rec committee is getting antsy over there, so I think we'll We'll bring them in.
You sit over by the microphone.
Ooh, we're calm, get over there. Get
All
over
right.
there.
So the rec committee is here this evening to introduce their 2024 season rate schedule. Or their recommendations, I should say.
Yes, for you to look at.
So you have the packet.
Yes.
You want to go over the 2016 versus the 2024 rates? Yeah, that's when we.
So the last full season.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm just curious as if you could just say what's the difference between this past season and this season in terms of.
So basically, the committee are recommending that we try to get a full year in this year. And 'cause last year, we only had a half of a season. So if we get a full year in, they recommend to keep the rates the same as what they were last year.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
The only thing that we're adding this year would be the water fitness class. So other than that, it's basically.
And that would be for 8 classes, and we're gonna try to run 2 sessions of 8 classes for $50.
People should know how to swim.
Well, this will be the fitness though. This is for.
Oh, this is
adults.
fitness,
This is
oh.
water
This is
fitness.
water exercise.
Oh, are you gonna do it, Clint?
Swim
No.
lessons. Yeah.
No, not in bathing suits. Well, not when I was there.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, the swimming lessons will stay the same.
Yeah.
Pool rights will
Okay.
stay the same. The pavilion rentals will stay the same.
Great.
Staff, everything will just stay the same as what we had last year, if that's what you want.
What are you shooting for opening day this year?
Weather permitting, I mean, hopefully Memorial Day weekend.
Right, yeah.
And then we'll go through Labor Day.
They're kids, they don't care about cold water.
No, I know, exactly. No,
It'd be
no,
their Memorial Day weekend.
no. Now, I was going by Cindy, and they must have been putting the solar up. Is it all up there? It is, yeah.
Yeah, we're
I
just
watched them do it a couple times when I was going to the transfer station, and I,
Waiting on the final word on the inspection.
oh,
You know, they inspected the other day, but they, Kevin has to come and hook up.
hook it at the line to get it online, yeah. Oh, good, good.
The end is there.
Yeah,
I actually think it looks pretty nice.
yeah. Oh, I'm just, haven't got into it yet. I just on the road, and I was watching them put it up for,
Yeah.
kind of pulled over there.
I've been watching Facebook for updated pictures, but I haven't seen any.
We wanted to wait until all the solar was done, and then we
You
will.
know.
And then with this, if you,
Pictures of anything, we don't care.
Maybe there's a deer standing outside the doors.
Really,
You
waiting
know?
to get in play. Oh, now here's a question, because that might have just been seriously this year. Are people gonna still be go up and use the play structure like when the pool's closed down? Does the pool lock right up all the way so they can go in there and use the play structure?
Very good question.
it's a very good question.
One that we're happy to.
Well, a lot of people have asked me. I mean, you know.
Absolutely, and we've tried to get the word out there, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
You want me to take
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
So basically, the whole area is closed down in the winter time.
right.
It has been for a couple reasons. One, safety.
Mm-hmm.
We don't clear the snow from the entire property. And one of the reasons we don't do that is because it would tear up the driveway considerably.
Yes, it would.
So we really can't make it safe enough for people to go in there. So it's really a seasonal area.
Mm-hmm.
We'll open up Memorial Day. We'll keep it open as long as we can, as long as, the weather permits in the late fall. And then we will shut the area down because we also don't have staff to go up there every day to open the gate.
Right. Now,
and close the
what time
gate.
does the pool close during the daytime?
8 o'clock.
Oh, 8 at night? Oh, so that's plenty of time for families,
Oh, yeah.
excuse me, to be up there playing on the play structure.
And, I mean, we're gonna be open for like 11 hours for the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
so.
that's good. I need to be able to tell people when they're saying to me, and Jim wanted to bring my kid up, but it was, well,
Yeah, and there are other playgrounds in the area. I mean, Buckland Shelburne is
Yeah,
open
exactly.
year-round for folks to go there. It's just
I
an
told him it was not our place yet until it was turned over to us, you know,
That was
but,
last year. We
yeah,
had a
well, I
lot
got
of-
away with saying it.
Yeah, yeah. No, and we appreciate everyone's patience last
Yeah.
year. I mean, it really, there was a lot of ongoing construction, and then the solar going in, we knew that, that was also a concern. But at this point, we're down to just a couple items on the punch list. We have the donor board to be installed, we have some door closers that are still back ordered. A little bit of signage to take care of, but we're hoping to set the date for the grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony, which we'll get that word out as soon as we have that
Most likely,
finalized.
probably the middle of May. That's when it's
Nice, nice.
Thank you.
approve this, then we'll start posting it, and we've already had some people inquire
Want to get
about.
passes early to beat the rush, which is great. We'll get word out to the schools, and on the Shellbuck News, we'll have a little, article for that to get the word out.
Yeah.
Update the Facebook page.
Hopefully a nice summer. I mean, really, last summer was, even if it was not a great summer, just like, we got a nice winter, so I guess it was a nice trade-off this year, but,
We'll hope for good weather.
yeah.
I mean, I guess my only question would be is, from what you guys sold in passes last year, did that cover?
We,
It's really hard to say.
yeah, 'cause we
Okay.
didn't have a full year.
Right.
We sold, post-it note, 59 passes last year. Kind of thinking we're gonna probably double that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then we sold quite a bit, like 2,179 day passes,
I was gonna say, yeah.
where that's not gonna happen.
Right.
That'll drop way down, and we're hoping that people will buy, because it's really, when you break it down, I mean, it's really reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a lot of expenses to meet, so this will be a good way for us to see this summer what our
Well-
a real season of being open for the full.
Hopefully the solar will put a very good dent in that, so.
Yeah, that's, yeah, I hope. That electric bill was pretty steep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions?
No. I know you're surprised, but no.
I would accept a motion to allow the rec committee to maintain the same costs as they did last year for their pool fees.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, none? All right. Keep up the good work. Any other updates, since we have the rec committee here?
Just gave them all, guys.
That's
What do
just
you
the pool?
want?
We have so many other areas.
Well, I mean, Cricketfield has a lot of potential, but it takes money.
Good way to put it.
Yes. Any projects that you guys are maybe looking at, trying to work on grants towards for down there?
Excuse me?
Any grants or anything like that?
Well.
That you could see coming up?
There's the art grant, which is, but I don't know.
I think now that the pool project is kind of behind, the
Mhm.
committee will probably kind of get a fresh, take their breath, and then start in again on thinking of some new projects,
Mhm.
so.
Do you have any suggestions?
Good question, Cindy.
What could we be thinking about?
I do. They're, like you said, they're expensive projects. You know, it just happened to be that we had a baseball meeting for the older kids the other night, but they're kind of working together in conjunction with the youth baseball too, so. You know, so Zach is kind of spearheading a lot for both leagues. So I know we were looking at different costs and stuff, like lights, fences, things along those lines. So, I know the outfield fence is definitely a big one that we want to start tackling, and maybe looking at trying to find any grant money or anything. So if you guys know of anything, certainly either connect with me or Zach or,
Check down the jail. Check down the jail, because not only could they come up and do work, which they did for me when he did Mohawk Trail, the Mohawk.
Yeah.
Used to have a ball field down there, and they came and helped us out, built that and everything, so, and even provide.
yeah.
So
I don't
know
even
if
know
they
is
still
it
do
so
that.
much that as it is purchasing the material.
Well, that's what I'm saying, they both does show did that
Yeah.
too, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I think even as far as the labor, I think we can probably scavenger up enough volunteers to come down. And, if we got a dozen people together, we could certainly rip out a new outfield fence.
Yeah,
in a day.
I wonder if all the field, and all the fences we put up are still down that field. I wonder how good it is, the chain link, it hasn't been
Well, I
used for
know,
years.
we updated some of it. I know the league put a new backstop in, that was probably maybe 6 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
something like that, 6 or 7 years ago. The league paid for a new backstop, so that fence is brand new. I know I personally replaced a couple of the posts along the first baseline
Yeah.
for that fence, but, a lot of it too is looking at safety and stuff for the kids too, so, boxing in around the,
It was a while ago when we did that field.
around the pens and,
Yeah.
the benches and stuff,
Yeah.
so.
But the bleachers and the new parking area looks good.
Yep.
It's a
Yep,
start.
so, yeah, we're getting there, slowly but surely. So, is that Parks Grant one we can put in for every year, Heather? Or is that in every other?
Well, we had to close out the pool
Right,
portion, and now that we've done that, yes, we are eligible.
Okay.
We're only eligible once a project is completed,
okay,
so.
all right. What's usually the cost on that?
Well, in the past, we've been eligible for 100,000, but with the pool, we were able to get 400,000.
That's right, okay.
So I don't know if it was the project itself or the location. I think it was the location because we were near the transportation. They considered Mohawk to be a regional transportation designated area because of the regional busing.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the same would hold true to Cricket. I know there's an FRTA station on the Shelburne side. It's on our list to meet and start looking at deadlines and projects. And I know that I've been waiting for Cindy and Pam to be able to catch their breath a little bit before
They pretty
starting.
much had the winter off, so.
That's not
I
necessarily
haven't really
true.
seen Cindy all winter, so,
Neither have I. She just lived on the street from me.
Yeah.
Thinks-
Pam and Cindy did meet last week or earlier this week. The days run together, and we're confident in what they'll need to finish out the project from the APRA funds, leaving approximately $113,000 on the table that I have vacuumed back up into the salt shed project. So we'll talk more about that
Good.
later on in the agenda, but wanted to make sure that they were confident in their projections for what they need for retainage. We know that there is a new capital expense request that the Finance Committee is looking at, approximately $40,000 for a new pump that
Worst case scenario.
worst case scenario, but that conveniently reached the end of its life cycle at the end of the pool construction project. But finance has looked at that, we do have some available free cash. We know it needs to be done. The pump doesn't owe us anything. And if it's any indication, Dan Florio did pronounce it DOA. So we know it is actually
Yeah.
ready to be replaced.
If Dan can't fix it, nobody can.
Right. So that's a real confidence booster there. But,
Okay. Good. I do know one of the big things that we were talking about the other night for baseball down at the field was them looking at maybe updating some of the power that's down there. So,
That's a big one.
yes.
yeah. And we've been
Yes.
talking with the water district about a way to bring water, or to restore water to the pavilion area. So we do have some in-house projects that we can look at.
Mhm.
Maybe coming up with one large project to apply for the park grant, but supplementing with some of these smaller infrastructure utility projects at the same time.
I think the park grant, isn't it June?
Mm-hmm.
June.
Coming up. So,
I
we'll,
mean, maybe it's something we can include, maybe like all the fence or something, would be a good one, and it could be done inside of a year. Doing the outfield fence, updating,
we'll have to look at eligibility,
yeah.
whether fencing and, that. I'd like to get a play structure down there. I'd like to be able to
Not
put.
lighting,
Yeah.
lighting would always be good too, upgrading that. So,
We'll look at criteria, and no doubt we'll be bringing something back to you. We're not going to let the opportunity go by.
excellent. All right, well, thank you for coming in, ladies.
Okay.
If you have nothing further, we'll continue on. All right, thank you. Agenda items, we have the 24 annual town election positions and vacancies. Our town clerk, Alicia Graves, has presented the positions that are up for election, re-election, in the June of 2024 annual town election, with the announcement that nomination papers are now available. Someone will need to read them out loud for terms, because she is not here. And I have those right here. So, nomination papers for the annual town election will be available in the town clerk's office starting Tuesday, February 13th. The deadline to submit nomination papers to the town clerk for certification is April 16th. The annual town election is scheduled for Tuesday, June 4th, starting from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. The last day to register to vote for this election will be Friday, May 24th by 5 p.m. Offices on the ballot this year will be one select board for a 3-year term, one board of assessors for a 3-year term, one board of health for a 3-year term, one Buckland Public Library trustee for a 3-year term, 2 finance committee, both for a 3-year term, and 1 moderator for a 3-year term. To this date, the following incumbents have indicated that they will be seeking re-election. Myself for Select Board, Elizabeth Cerrone for Board of Assessors, and Bruce Lessels for Finance Committee. The town will utilize vote by mail for the local election as required by the Voters Act's law. Residents must apply for this. Postage for mailing ballots to come out with a revolving election account, which is comprised of state reimbursements for state election costs. The town will not have early voting in person for this election. All right.
As part of that vote, I think I've listed that we'd like to also appoint Lois Bascom as an election worker. You did a multiple appointment a few months ago, but Alicia is still actively recruiting, and Lois has graciously agreed to help out that day. So if you could also appoint her as an election worker, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. I will make a motion to appoint Lois Bascom as one of the election workers.
Second?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And I will also move to certify the positions for the Buckland local elections to take place on June 4th of 2024.
It's your turn. All right, second it.
All right.
I was still reading.
Oh,
Any further
okay.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none? All right.
Comic relief for the
And,
folks at home.
hey, you gotta have some. All right, the 2024 Small Town Administrators and Managers Legislative Priorities Endorsement Request. Heather, would you want to give a,
We're not doing the Buckland Historic Commission first?
no,
He's-
he's,
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, they've decided not to move forward with that grant application.
Okay,
for
thank you very
whatever
much.
reason.
Thank you.
So, as you know, the town participates as a member community of the Mass Municipal Association. A smaller offshoot of the MMA is the Small Town Administrators and Managers Association, of which I am a member. I work with them on individual trainings and opportunities to promote leadership opportunities, and one of our new roles is going to be advocacy. The MMA does a terrific job of advocating for the 356 communities in Massachusetts. However, the larger voices, the larger towns, their needs and their issues don't always match the needs and issues in a small town. So we've created this short list of issues that we feel are relevant and important to smaller communities, and we figure that if each, and there's over 50 member towns with STAM, so that's 50 boards of selectmen and maybe 50 finance committees, and our joint voices could become heard at Beacon Hill. So looking for your thoughts on those. And I can read them, or you could read, maybe just gloss over what they are, or just, I can post them on the website for future.
yeah, I mean, I think posting this on the website, but, certainly all things that we have discussed over the years, or things that we have begged for
I mean,
over the years.
Certainly a review of the Chapter 90 formula. Chapter 90 is the way that we receive state funding for our roads and infrastructure. A municipal building assistance authority. There are always there is money for culverts, but not for town halls or salt sheds. And education funding formulas need to be addressed. We certainly look for some relief from the procurement thresholds. It is incredibly challenging for small towns and small town administrators, even with the best administrative assistants in the world, to help. Procurement remains a real challenge. Prevailing wage drives the cost of all of our projects beyond a reasonable level. some assistance with our pilots, some support to help with the nonprofits, finding creative ways to get them to pay their fair share for the services that they still receive despite their tax status. Yeah, so, those are just a couple of starting points, but I think that they could have meaningful benefits.
Absolutely.
Can they address zip codes?
So, we're finding that that we are not alone in our zip code dilemmas, but they are not quite broad, and there's not so many small towns that suffer from a zip code problem. So they may not make this list, but
Okay.
I think Larry Langford's on the attack on that one right now, isn't he?
he is.
Yeah.
He is, and he has a small group
Yep.
that's working with him.
Cool.
So you are looking for what from us on this? Just
A
our-
vote to endorse those, and that we'll forward it along, that the Buckland Select Board supports these initiatives. We'll show them, we'll show them who's boss.
All right, I would accept the motion to support the Small Town Administrators of Massachusetts and their letter of interest to the state.
So moved. Yeah.
I second it.
All right, any further
Oh, those are
discussion?
complicated ones.
That's okay. He threw it in by saying, he didn't, instead of saying I'm making a motion,
That's right.
you gotta listen to him. He's
Right.
trying to keep you on your toes.
Hey,
I know
gotta
he
make sure
is.
you're not just reading it.
That's
and paying
right.
attention.
Three Stooges were a great show.
It's like having children.
Us, yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none? All right. Request for proposals, the Highway Department Salt Shed Project.
So I was hoping that I would have a draft request for bidders, or invitation for bidders document for you to review this evening. It seems as though FERCog, they've been through some staffing changes in their procurement office, and they don't feel that they have the capacity to put this out to bid on our behalf until later in June. I would like to be under construction in June, so I'm going to work with town council and with our engineers to get this out. It'll likely cost us a little bit more money in the process, but again, I'd like to get those spring prices when contractors are putting their schedules together. I don't want to be going out to bid in June.
No, we kind of can't go out to bid in June because by the time the project's done, we should have already had salt sitting in that barn,
Yeah,
so.
understood, yeah. So when I had put this on the agenda, I had anticipated that I would have something for you, and unfortunately, I'm not there. But we do have a lot of we have all of the documentation that we need. We just need somebody to put the actual, in the RFP together for us and get it out and advertised. The town of Templeton did one that's almost identical to what we're looking at, so I've even got a good framework, but I don't know enough about the specifications to be confident in doing it on our own, so, but we'll get it out there. So watch that space.
Okay. All right. Committee appointments. We have the Conservation Committee, Pat Conlon. Looks like he has,
He's very well qualified. I was reviewing his volunteer form, and I don't know how we haven't brought him into service before now.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. I know the Conservation Commission members are thrilled that he'll be joining their ranks pending your approval.
Yeah, I would make a motion to appoint Pat Conlon to the one-year unexpired term of the Conservation Committee ending June of 2025.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Bearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none?
It's a truncated appointment because he's replacing the unexpired term that
Right.
Jim Egan resigned from last month.
Contracts and grant documents. We have Depot Street and Freight Yard Improvement Project, notice of award to A. Martins and Son. And,
So they were low bid by a significant amount. They were $684,000, and the next lowest bidder was in the high 800s. Of course, some of the bids came in the millions, so really ran the spectrum of price points. But we would be hesitant to award to a contractor with such a low bid that but we've done a fair amount of work with Martins.
Yes.
Martins did a portion of William, they did Ashfield, and they have a good working relationship with our sewer district as well as the water department. So actually, the water department is thrilled that it's A. Martins. They did the water work recently here on North Street. So, yes, if it all looks in order to you, I would love a motion to award, and then we'll move into contracts.
make a motion to approve the notice of award to A. Martin and Son in the amount of $684,846 for the Depot Street Freight Yard Parking Area Reconstruction Project.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Bearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, none?
I'll note that does leave a significant amount of money left in that budget, that as we start working on the freight yard project and working with the trolley museum and with the marketplace, it does leave some additional funds for some of the items that we had talked about during the public hearing process that would signage and the enrichments.
Not the bathroom.
Not a bathroom. There's not enough money and certainly no support for a bathroom facility, but there are opportunities for enrichments, as Larry's word is so apropos.
Good.
So that's great news.
The permits and licenses, the Mohawk Athletic Association, they are looking for a one-day liquor license for their bridge dinner.
Oh, that's 7th of July, okay. Or 28th of July, you mean?
Yeah, because we've
28th
already,
of July, yeah.
so we've already,
You've approved the bridge closing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we've initiated that permit with Mass DOT, but this is the liquor license, and I think that the vote should be just contingent. They certainly indicated that they have no trouble providing the liquor liability, but we'll make the vote contingent upon this,
Definitely.
that being made available.
Definitely.
so they don't know who they're using for a vendor?
No.
Yep.
So we will be selling wine and beer only.
Right, but they have to
Okay,
have
so they still have to have somebody to
they
go
have to have
through.
a
but
vendor
they-
that does it.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll make sure
Doesn't
that.
say who it was.
All right.
Did they have a full liquor license last year? I don't recall.
I don't think so.
As a nonprofit, good.
Right, they're eligible, but.
Right.
Right.
I feel like it was probably just beer and wine, that's typically what that dinner always was. Just
Yeah.
wine, actually, for a lot of years.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
And how do you know?
Because I used to be on the athletics.
Oh, that's right. Good one, you get out of that.
I'd make a motion to approve the application for the one-day liquor license for the Mohawk Athletic Association's Bridge Dinner, contingent on the submission of the proper liquor liability insurance.
I second that.
Further discussion? Barring none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Minutes and warrants. We have the 2024 presidential preference primary warrant. I'd say that 3 times fast.
So we don't actually see the candidates on this particular thing, right?
It's just the warrant,
Yeah.
the ballot, the specimen ballot will be available after you approve.
Okay, thank you very much.
And make a motion to approve the 2024 presidential preference primary warrant as prepared.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? Barring none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. January 23rd minutes. You guys had a chance to review those. All right. Make a motion to approve the January 23rd minutes as prepared.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Barring none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Great job, Mary. Even though she's not here this evening.
But it'll be on tape.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a hefty one.
Yeah. The vendor warrant, 24-17, and payroll warrant. And then vendor warrant 18 and payroll warrant. Make a motion to approve both vendor and payroll warrants for January 30th and February 13th as prepared.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Items not reasonably anticipated by chair 48 hours in advance. I have nothing. Select board member concerns?
No concerns today.
Nothing, huh?
No. You want me to think of something?
Town administrator's report.
Although I have to say, it was great.
It's
we
too
didn't
late.
have-
We already moved on.
No, it's great. We didn't have a storm, because all I can think of is that costs money, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Welcome to my world.
All right, you can go on now, sir.
I just have a couple of quick updates for you this evening. One is that despite having ordered the equipment for our community wood bank almost a year ago, we finally took delivery of all of the splitter and the processor, and that equipment is now at the Buckland Highway Garage. DCR needs to come out and do the official kickoff and training in order for it to be a volunteer community wood bank. They will do that in the spring. We'll put together some event dates. I hope to have at least 2 of those community wood splitting dates next spring, just one to make up for the fall. We've been collecting quite a pile of wood and logs from the utility companies, and we, no pun intended, but we're a little backlogged. So we need to get.
It's getting late.
It is getting late. I am a little punchy. But we've also sort of communicated with the Mary Lyon Foundation in the meantime, so that they can reach out to us if there are any families in the interim that could use some wood, and highway can get that wood split and made available to them. We're not opening it up to the general public as a volunteer process, only because we're not able to do so, because we need DCR on board for that. But I just appreciate everybody's patience. I've been talking about this project for some time now. I'm very excited about it, and looking forward to the spring. At your last meeting, we had talked briefly about well, actually, it wasn't briefly, but it was the transfer station sticker, annual sticker program. Unfortunately, the microphones were not working for that portion of the meeting. And I think that, I talked to Pam, and she and I have discussed that perhaps, oh my goodness, that it affords us an opportunity to regroup and come back with that proposal for you in writing. We talked about making it official for January 2025. Pam has made me aware that we would run out of our regular stickers well before then. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and order the annual stickers now, and then if somebody comes in and wants a sticker, they can purchase one, but it'll be valid not only for the rest of this year, but also for all of 2025. So those people that already have a sticker, this wouldn't apply to them. They wouldn't need a new sticker until January of 2025. But if somebody moves,
The rush if they're
right,
so
right,
desire.
right. But if somebody moves into town now and comes in to get a sticker, we'll still have a sticker for them. It will be not a free sticker, but it will also be valid for at least, for all of 2024 and 2025.
Well, we're gonna have to come up with a way to really explain that well for
Right,
people.
right. But this gives us a chance to at least have that, have some lead time to get the,
And not order stickers that we're only gonna use for another.
Yeah, right, that
Right,
makes sense.
right.
Correct,
Makes sense,
correct.
so.
Right. I think one of the suggestions I got from both Floyd and Meddy, I was up at the transfer station a couple weekends ago. He just asked if maybe when we're putting these flyers out, if we can maybe put a direction on where people should be placing these stickers on the vehicle,
Ooh,
so
good
that they're
idea.
easily visible to whoever's working at the transfer
Yeah, we
station.
tell people verbally when they pick up
Mhm.
the sticker where it should go, and there is instructions on the existing literature that's handed out, but
Yep.
we'll make, if that's something that they feel is still
Yeah, because he said
lacking,
it's,
we'll really try to drive that.
he said some of them, they really have to struggle to find. You know, people put them in their back windows and they're tinted, you can't see them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to, it just,
Yeah,
We're very clear, but
Yeah.
we will certainly, we'll give a visual something, I don't know.
Yeah, you could do like a picture, you do pickup truck and then do a vehicle, you know,
They'll get a
car.
small novel
Yeah.
when they buy their sticker. Well, they do.
No, it could just be a little picture and then it just, an arrow pointing to, you know.
yeah. So anyways, more on that, but that, after some conversation and also hearing some feedback, Pam and I thought that might be a better approach. Annual report, dedication. Our annual report is in the works, and it is the select board's honor and obligation to come up with who the report is dedicated to. That is not something that is announced publicly, but it is something that you should be thinking about in the backs of your minds as you go about your day. And then get back to Elizabeth Cerrone at your opportunity as to who you think might be a good person to dedicate that report to.
Yeah, it's interesting that Buckland does it to someone who is still alive. When I lived in Worthington, we always did choose someone who had passed in the
it's
past
not
year.
always, it's done both.
You've
yeah.
done both? Okay.
Greg Barble's dad died.
Okay,
and
all right,
it was- yeah.
because I used to write it for them,
Yeah.
so.
Oh,
Oh,
You're a volunteer.
I absolutely heard it. That's fantastic.
You stepped in that one.
Let's write this down so we don't
Yeah.
forget. Joan volunteer.
That is perfect.
You're not making a motion, are you?
It's in writing, it's on tape.
No, I'd be glad to help, I'd be glad to.
That's wonderful.
Liz was
And,
about that.
and I know, Clinton, you're already working on your annual report for the select board.
of course I am.
Maybe,
You are.
How's it coming, Heather?
I was gonna say tomorrow.
oh my gosh. Believe it or not, it is time to start planning for the annual town meeting. Speaking of annual reports, the anticipation is that you will open the warrant at your next meeting, and the warrant would be open, obviously, the following morning. I've set the deadline of March 22nd for any articles that are not stock or that I don't already know about. So if there's new articles, if there are new topics that are not already considered template articles, I would like to know about them by March 22nd. You'll review the draft warrant on your meeting on the 26th with anticipation of approving the final warrant for posting on April 9th. My hope is that we would then have motions for you on April 23rd. Recommendations by both this board and the Finance Committee by the 26th. And then at that point, it's just a mad rush to May 4th, when the town meeting will be held at 10 a.m. on that Saturday at Mohawk. We should call Mohawk. We need to call them. Great minds.
When will the actual numbers be ready in those motions?
The motions will have to have those numbers.
I mean, it's that close that we're being able to do that.
Well, a lot of the information you'll have already. It's just we don't typically put the numbers in the articles. We save them for the motions. But if
Okay, all right.
If I don't have a pretty good idea by the time that you're voting on the 9th,
Okay.
Call me out. But we should, the actual written motions would be in their final draft form according to this calendar, by April 22nd.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this document, the schedule has been circulated to all the boards and committees, all the department heads, so everybody's on the same page. And that leads me really quickly into the last item, which is the planning board. They are trying to juggle their calendar and schedule to make sure that they're meeting with you before they have their public hearing. They want to make sure that you have seen their latest and final draft of the short-term rental zoning bylaw that they're proposing for the town meeting. So you should they will be here at your next meeting. Your next meeting, we're going to need snacks. It is a long one. It's a full agenda. But this is what happens this time of year. There's just a lot of stuff happening. And then they'll have their public hearing. I think they're looking at April 2nd, or I don't want to say that because they've been passing around a couple of different dates, but their public hearing will be advertised, giving them enough time to debrief and make any changes that come about from the public hearing process. So they anticipate that to be well attended.
And so they want to have that bylaw vote, if the process continues, at annual town meeting rather than a special town meeting, so that you have more people weighing into the issue?
Yep.
Okay.
So that is all I have for you tonight, unless there were any other topics or questions that you would like updates for.
We get a kickoff date yet for North Street?
March, they'll be in doing some tree, there are no trees scheduled to come down on North, but they'll be doing limbing and starting to mark out utilities in March.
Okay. Alrighty. Public comment,
Oh, yes.
Miss Kelsey.
Okay. When I saw you on Monday downstairs, we said, yeah, I'm going to stay home and watch it on TV. Well, when I started watching it on TV tonight, it wasn't on the local channel being streamed on the TV. I don't know if that's because it was being zoomed, but anyways, I couldn't capture it on my TV station. So here I am. So maybe somebody can explain that to me. Does Zoom preempt
No.
it
No.
being streamed on TV?
No,
Well,
two separate.
Separate, then it was not being streamed tonight on the local channel on Comcast. And that might show up on Saturday or Sunday, I don't know, but it definitely wasn't being streamed tonight. So that was one thing. So here I am. So, and I had to get all dressed up.
Well, at least it didn't snow tonight.
Yes, we are happy about that. And the other thing I wanted to mention, this is for the, I'm hoping the select board and the police station to think about in the future. Several years ago, and I can't put a date on it exactly, there was a parade that started from down on Conway Street that went over the bridge. I think it was a Veterans Day parade or Veterans
4th of July.
Was it? Thank you.
Mhm.
My sister was in town, so I knew she was present. And there was protesting going on Bridge Street by the Arms Library, and it halted the parade for about 20 minutes, and veterans had to stand on the hot pavement, and the vintage cars had to idle or turn it off. So I was wondering in the future, when the police give a permit for a parade, that somehow there's more assumption that there might be a protest going on, and how to keep it on the sidewalks and not interrupt the flow of the parade.
Well, I mean, that is probably something you may want to, I guess for an answer on that, you would want to speak with Chief Bardwell about that, because that is, that would be an enforcement, or a police enforcement. So that's nothing that we would have any say in. That's all up to the police department.
Thank you. The only reason I brought that up, I had observed something on Bridge Street a couple of weeks ago, and there was some out-of-country flags being flown by the bridge, and where the flagpoles were letting the flags fall into the flow of traffic with the windshields and whatnot, or the passenger side of the windows. And I thought, since that is something that I've seen just recently with, they were not American flags, but it doesn't really make any difference. It's a danger to a driver to have a flag out.
Yep, it's a traffic hazard.
It's a traffic hazard, yeah.
Yep. If you see things like that, you would call the police department.
Wish I had it. I could have taken a video. I never thought of it.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that help.
Yep.
Okay, good to know.
Okay. Anything else? Nothing. Okay. Announcements and our upcoming meetings. Our next meeting will be February 27th. We're going to be at 5:30.
Nope, 5 o'clock, because you have
Really?
the,
Sewer?
nope.
Nope.
Nope, give me a second. The Mohawk Trail Regional School District Sustainability consultant
yes.
will
Okay.
be here to present, and we'll be posting that as a joint meeting with the Finance Committee. So from 5 to 6, you'll have that, and then there's or 5 until whenever they're complete. And then at 6, you have a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant Housing Rehab program. We also expect to have a report from Chris Skelly, who is your Woodlands Partnership road representative, and report on the summit that was held, and it was really well attended, and a possible grant application. We'll have an MVP update, and then we also discussed the planning board presenting their short-term their short-term rental bylaw. So again, very busy but very informative meeting on the 27th.
Okay.
Snacks. Snacks.
Naps?
I'll take a nap in the afternoon, yeah.
So February 27th, our select board meeting will be beginning here at 5 p.m., not 5:30. And March 13th, tentatively right now, we're at 5:30?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that is all I have. I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that, okay. I didn't know how it was.
All right, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Yeah, thank you, and have a good evening.